Zwickau in Germany, belongs to an industrial and economical core region. Nowadays it is the capital city of the district of Zwickau. The city is situated in a valley at the foot of the Erzgebirge mountains and is also part of what is called the Saxon Triangle metropolitan area, an economic network which includes Leipzig-Halle, Dresden and Chemnitz. The city has slightly fewer than 100,000 inhabitants, but has a regional catchment area of over 480,000 people. From 1834 until 1952 Zwickau was the former seat of the government of the southwestern region of Saxony. Zwickau, known as the City of Automobiles, is the center of the Saxon automotive industry, with a tradition over 100 years old. Well known beyond Germany's borders are car makers such as Horch, Audi, Auto Union, Trabant and Volkswagen. Since 2000 its history has been presented in the August-Horch Museum, inside the former Audi Works. The West Saxon University of Applied Sciences of Zwickau is an important center for educating and training automotive engineers. The Romantic composer Robert Schumann was born in Zwickau. The valley of the 166 km long Zwickau-Mulde River stretches from the Vogtland to Colditz Castle at the other end. The Silver Road, Saxony's longest tourist route, connects Dresden with Zwickau. The German ADAC City Guide recently wrote, "The town of Zwickau has transformed itself over the years from a traditional mining town into an elegant Art Nouveau town, which is well worth discovering." The city can be reached easily by car via the nearby autobahns A4 and A72. The city has a main railway station and is also reachable via a public airfield which takes light aircraft. In 2011, the city was associated by some newspapers with the so-called Zwickau Cell, a neo-Nazi terrorist group from Thuringia responsible for several murders and bank robberies. History at a glance. The city of Zwickau has a history stretching back almost 900 years. As early as the 14th century there was domestic hard coal processing. Because of the silver ore deposits in the Erzgebirge, Zwickau developed in the 15th and 16th centuries and grew to be an important economic and cultural center of Saxony. After Wittenberg, it became the first city in Europe to join the Lutheran Reformation. In the 19th century the city's economy was driven by industrial hard coal mining. The old city of Zwickau, perched on a hill, is surrounded by heights with extensive forests and a scenic municipal park. Its surroundings offer many opportunities for excursions, to the Hartenstein area, for example, with its Castle Stein, and the Prinzenhaar Paragraph Leg, with its Castle Wolfsbrunn, as well as the Auersberg with a popular winter sport region of Hohengeorgenstadt in the Vogtland. In the Old Town the cathedral and the Gierandhaus recall the flourishing ecclesiastical, trade and artistic life of the 16th century, which was based on Schneeberg silver. Zwickau was the main site of the Saxon coal miners, and at the same time one of the most important industrial towns of the country. It is also the cradle of the Saxon automobile industry. When the noise of the shops subsides, one can hear the music of Robert Schumann, which is a special cultural event of art and history for all visitors to the city. The German actor Gert Frau Paragraph B, well known as the antagonist in the James Bond film Goldfinger, was born in Zwickau. On April 17, 1945, the Second World War ended for Zwickau when the city was occupied by the U.S. Army. After the withdrawal of the U.S. Army on June 30, 1945 Zwickau was occupied by the Soviet Red Army. Between 1944 and 2003, the city had a population of more than 100,000 inhabitants. Today, the most important employer in the region is Volkswagen Saxony Limited, which assembles its Golf, Passat and Phaeton models in the Zwickau-Mosel vehicle plant. Audi AG together with the city of Zwickau operates the August-Horch Museum in the former Audi Works. Boundaries: Zwickau is bounded by Mar 1/4 Lsen, Rinsdorf, Wilkau-Haslau, Hirschfeld, Lichtenton, Ade, Neukölln, Crimmitschau, Den Heritz and the city of Glocke. Incorporations, 1895, Paragraph LBITZ, 1902, Marienthal, 1905, Eckersbach, 1922, Wersenborn, 1923, Schedwitz, 1939, Brandenburg-Horn, 1944, Oberhörntorf and Planitz, 1953, Auerbach, Paragraph Law and Niederherntorf, 1993, Hartmannsdorf, 1996, Rottmannsdorf, 1996, Crossen, 1999, Kainsdorf, Mosel, Oberethenbach and Schlenzig along with H1 Telschgra 1 N and Freiheitsjedlung. Population, to the first census data. History. The region around Zwickau was settled by Slavs as early as the 7th century. The name Zwickau is probably a Germanization of the Sorbian toponym Angstrom Wickawa, which derives from Sverozia, the Slavic sun and fire god. In the 10th century, German settlers began arriving and the native Slavs were Christianized. A trading place known as Territorio Zwickau was mentioned in 1118. The settlement received a town charter in 1212 and hosted Franciscans and Cistercians during the 13th century. Zwickau was a free imperial city from 1290 1323, but was subsequently granted to the Margraves of Meissen. Although regional mining began in 1316, extensive mining increased with the discovery of silver in the Schneeberg in 1470. Among the 9 churches, the fine Gothic Church of St. Mary, with a spire 285 feet high and a bell weighing 51 tons, stands out. The church contains an altar with wood carving, 8 paintings by Michael Wohlgemuth and a remarkable Pietà in carved and painted wood by Peter Breyer. The late Gothic Church of St. Catherine has an altarpiece ascribed to Lucas Cranach the Elder, and is remembered because Thomas Marr 1 NTZEA was once pastor there. Of the secular buildings the most noteworthy are the Town Hall, begun in 1404 and rebuilt many times since then. The municipal archives include documents dating back to the 13th century. The carefully preserved treasures of art and literature, documents, letters and books are kept in the town archives, Meister Singer volumes, and in the school library founded by scholars and by the town clerk Stephan Rath during the Reformation. In 1520 Martin Luther dedicated his treatise on the freedom of the Christian man to his friend Hermann Neuhofort, the Lord Mayor of Zwickau. The Anabaptist movement of 1525 began at Zwickau under the inspiration of the Zwickau prophets. The late Gothic Irrandhaus was built in 1522-24 and is now converted into a theatre. Confessional warfare devastated the city during the 30 Years' War. In 1810, on June 8, the pianist and composer Robert Schumann was born in Zwickau. Economic history. Coal mining hard coal mining is mentioned as early as 1348. However, mining on an industrial scale first started in the early 19th century. The hard coal mines of Zwickau, and the neighboring Oelsnitz-Lugger coal field contributed significantly to the industrialization of the region and the town. For a long period of its history, the Zwickau area was the center of hard coal mining. In 1885 Karl Wolff invented an improved gas-detecting safety mining lamp. He held the first world patent for it. Together with his business partner Freeman he founded the Freeman and Wolff factory. The plant was one of the first Germany global players in the 19th century. Coal mining was abandoned for economical reasons in 1978 after about 230 million tons had been mined from the Carboniferous deposit to depths of over 1,000 meters. However, Zwickau remained a mining-related town until 1992 when the last coke oven plant operating in the town was closed. The closure of the plant marked the historical end of 700 years of hard coal industry in Saxony. Many industrial branches developed in the town in the wake of the hard coal mining industry: mining equipment, iron and steel works, textile, machinery in addition to chemical, porcelain, paper, glass, dyestuffs, wire goods, tinware, stockings, and curtains. There were also steam sawmills, diamond and glass polishing works, iron foundries, and breweries. Automotive industry. In 1904 the Horch automobile plant was founded, followed by Audi factory in 1909. In 1932 both brands were incorporated into the Auto Union but retained their independent trademarks. The racing cars of the Auto Union, developed by Ferdinand Porsche and Robert Eberhard von Eberhurst, driven by Bernd Rosimir, Hans Stuck, Tazio Nuvolari, Ernst von Delius, became well known all over the world. During WWII, The Nazi government operated a satellite camp of the Flessenber I G concentration camp in Zwickau, which was sited near the Horch Auto Union plant. The Nazi administration installed a hard labor punishment camp at the Osterstein Castle. Both camps were liberated by U.S. Army in 1945. After WWII, from August 1, 1945, the military administration was taken over from the U.S. by the Soviet Army. The Auto Union factories of Horch and Audi were disassembled by the Russians. Auto Union itself relocated to Ingolstadt, Bavaria, evolving into the present-day Audi company. In 1948 all large companies were expropriated by the East German administration. With the founding of the German Democratic Republic in 1949 in East Germany, the difficult post-war reconstruction began. In 1958 the Horch and Audi factories were merged into the Sachsenring plant. At the Sachsenring automotive plant the compact Trabant cars were manufactured. These small cars had a two-cylinder, two-stroke engine. The car was the first vehicle in the world to be industrially manufactured with a plastic car body. The former VEB Sachsenring manufacturing site was acquired by Volkswagen in 1990, and has since been redeveloped as an engine and transmission manufacturing site. Uranium mining. Two major industrial facilities of the Soviet SDAG Azimuth were situated in the city, the uranium mill in Zwickau, producing uranium concentrate from ores of mines in the Erzgebirge and Thuringia, and the machine-building plant in Zwickau-Kansdorf producing various equipment for the uranium mines and mills of East Germany. Uranium milling ended in 1989, and after the reunification the Azimuth machine-building plant was sold to a private investor. Economy. The production of the Trabant was discontinued after German reunification, but Volkswagen built a new factory, and Sachsenring is now a supplier for the automobile industry. Nowadays the headquarters of the Volkswagen Saxony Limited is in the northern part of Zwickau. Education. Zwickau is home to the West Saxon University of Applied Sciences with about 5,200 students and two campuses within the boundaries of Zwickau. Transport. The city can be easily reached by car via the nearby autobahns A4 and A72. Zwickau is connected to the autobahn A72 south of the town and to the A4 15 km north of the town. Zwickau Hauptbahnhof is on the Dresden-Euro-Ade line, part of the Saxon-Franconian trunk line, connecting Nuremberg and Dresden. There are further railway connections to Leipzig as well as Karlovy Vary and Cheb in the Czech Republic. The core element of Zwickau's urban public transport system is the Zwickau tramway network. The system is also the prototype of the so-called Zwickau model for such systems. The closest airport is Leipzig-Altenburg with a very limited number of flights operated by the low-cost carrier Ryanair. The nearest major airports are Leipzig-Halle and Dresden, offering a large number of national and international flights. Museums. In the town centre there are three museums, an art museum from the 19th century and the houses of priests from 13th century, both located next to St. Mary's Church. Just around the corner there is the Robert Schumann Museum. The museums offer different collections dedicated to the history of the town, as well as art and a mineralogical, paleontological and geological collection with many specimens from the town and the nearby Erzgebirge MTS and the music of the Romantic School. Zwickau is also the birthplace of Robert Schumann. The house where he was born in 1810 still stands in the marketplace. This is now called Robert Schumann House and is a museum dedicated to him. The histories of the Audi and Horch automobile factories are presented at the August-Horch Museum Zwickau. The museum is an anchor point of the European route of industrial heritage. Historical mayors, 1501–1518, Erasmus Steller, 1518–1530, Hermann Mar I Quarter Hopfort, 1800, 1802, 1804, 1806, 1808, 1810, 1812, 1814, Karl Wilhelm Ferber, 1801, 1803, 1805, 1807, 1809, 1811, 1813, 1815, 1817, 1819, Tobias Hempel, 1816, 1818, 1820, 1822, Christian Gottlieb HAUGK, 1821, 1823, 1825, 1826, Karl Heinrich Rappius, 1824. Christian Heinrich Pinther, 1827–1830, Christian Heinrich Mar 1/4 HLMANN, State Vogt, 1830–1832, Franz Adolf Marbach, 1832–1860, Friedrich Wilhelm Mayer, 1860–1898, Lefhaustracht, from 1874 Lord Mayor, 1898–1919, Karl Kiel, 1919–1934, Richard Holtz, 1934–1945, B. Wildust, 1945, Fritz Weber, 1945, Georg Ulrich Hunk, 1945–1949, Paul Mar 1/4 Lair, 1949. 1954, Otto Osman, 1954–1958, Otto Schneider, 1958–1969, Gustav Seefried, 1969–1973, Lisbeth Windisch, 1973–1977, Helmut Rettmann, 1977–1990, Heiner Fischer, 1990–2001, Rainer Horn, 2001–2008, Dietmar Vettermann, 2008, until now Pierre Findays. Notable people: Robert Schumann, composer of the Romantic era, Fritz Bleuel, expressionist painter and architect, Max Pechstein, expressionist painter, Gert Frau paragraph B actor, mime, narrative writer, August-Horch automotive engineer, honorary doctorate from the Technical University of Braunschweig, Robert Eberhard von Eberhurst, automotive engineer, constructor of the 1938 Auto Union racing car Typ D Gershom-Skokken, Israeli journalist and politician. Jar 1/4 Gienekroi goalkeeper at former BSG Sachsenring Zwickau, elected GDR Footballer of the Year in 1972, 1976, and 1978, Dieter F. Jortdorf second councillor in the First Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, lived here following World War II. Twin towns are Euro sister cities, Jablonec nad Nisar, Czech Republic, since 1971, Zaanstad, Netherlands, since 1987, Dortmund, North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany, since 1988. References. External links: Zwickau official website, August-Horch Museum at Audi Works.